Good morning. Good morning. Happy Thursday. Today is May 21st, 2020. And welcome to this week's episode of When Life Needs a Detox. I want to thank you all so much for indulging me and just helping me get through last week. I was sick and I wasn't sure what I was sick with. Um, my heart told me that it was sinus issues, but in order to be sure, I did go and take the COVID-19 test. Now, I haven't got my results back yet. And they told me I would have the results within a week's time. And I took the test last Tuesday. And it's Thursday. I don't have any results. I'm just saying. But I'm healthier. I'm breathing well. And I can actually function to get this done for you today. Hang on a second. I need to make an adjustment. Let's see. We can try and keep that glare off. Nope, we're going to get a glare no matter what we do. Okay. So last week was a bad week, but I want to thank you guys for your get well wishes and your prayers. It was just wonderful. And I need to apologize to you guys because of the delay from this morning. I thought there was something wrong with my computer. Apparently, I'm not using the proper browser. And we're just going to make sure things get done. And that's all we can do. And I want to make sure you guys can hear me. So I was doing something on the computer. I had to adjust the volume on my speakers. So I hope everybody can hear me now. Yay. And once again, welcome to this week's episode of When Life Needs a Detox. I am Carol White, and I am your life detox strategist. And I am so glad that you could join me today. You're here, drop me a line, tell me hello. I'd love to hear from you. We're going to get started because I know everybody's got a few things to do. I had to be reminded that this weekend was Memorial Day weekend. And I'm just going to be honest, it's going to be a little different for me and my husband. We're not going anywhere. We're not doing anything. And we're going to do the social distancing thing. We're not even going to pull out the grill this go round. I mean, don't get me wrong, we love barbecue, but just for two people and one rack of ribs, I'm not pulling out a grill for that. They're going in the oven. They'll be just fine. And I hope that everyone is practicing their social distancing, washing your hands, doing the 6 feet thing, wearing your masks. I know that a lot of people feel it's unnecessary, even now that the death toll is rising. I get it. You feel it's infringing on your personal rights to do what you want to do. And quite frankly, you can do what you want to do. Everybody can. But this is a worldwide health threat. You can't live in your own little bubble anymore. None of us can. We've got to take steps to make sure everyone is safe. And that's my spiel for that on today's date. Now, getting back on topic, because y'all know I have a tendency to digress sometimes. Today's topic, or this week's topic for When Life Needs a Detox is, if you listen and wait long enough, the truth will always appear. This has been an interesting 2 weeks of news and other things. And if we allowed these circumstances to overload our senses, we would literally lose our minds. I say the best way to alleviate stress and tensions of our current times is to listen carefully at what is being said. More importantly, let's look at what's being shown to us. Now, let's begin with my favorite antagonist, the orange tragedy. Now, about 2 weeks ago, the news was all aflutter of the orange tragedy's valet coming down with COVID-19, as well as a staff member of Vice President Pence, and how they were very concerned about the safety of the White House. It was then reported that the orange tragedy had been vaccinated and was continually monitored, showing no symptoms. Now, all that means is he was asymptomatic. I'm just saying. There were also reports that his family was also properly vaccinated using the drug hydroxychloroquine, supposedly. Y'all know I got my issues about that drug, but we're going to keep it moving. So now there is once again this push for the use of the drug that, according to a report from the CDC, actually killed more people than it cured. And just this past Wednesday, it was reported that the trust funds of the orange tragedy and his family members are tied to a French manufacturing company of the malaria drug hydroxychloroquine. Now, listen to what they said and look at what they showed you. You had an outbreak in the White House. The president's vaccinated, supposedly using hydroxychloroquine. And man, oh man, look at this. His whole family is invested in a French manufacturing company that makes this same drug. If you listen and wait long enough, the truth will always appear. And that's as far as I'm going to go with that one. Next on the list, the orange tragedy has repeatedly, over the last few weeks, gone out of his way to do two things. One, to discredit the legacy of former President Barack Obama, and two, to justify his failure to properly handle the coronavirus pandemic. Now, it seemed to me that the more the orange tragedy talked, the more he made clear that he had no idea what he was doing in this particular situation, and he needed a scapegoat. It also became clear that the orange tragedy cares nothing for the majority of the people in this country by repeatedly stating that the impending deaths of the elderly, the young, and or infirm caused by the COVID-19 virus were to be seen as acceptable losses and badges of honor. To top off all of this insanity, the orange tragedy has been so inappropriate as to refuse to unveil the portrait of our 44th president, Barack Obama. Now, I don't know about anybody else, but all this shows me is that the orange tragedy doesn't know what he's doing, and he's jealous of those that do. And he did everything he could to tear these systems down that had been put in place to handle this. So now he needs a scapegoat. If you listen and wait long enough, the truth will always appear. Now, the state of Michigan has had its share of calamities, starting with the Flint water crisis, which to date has yet to be rectified over these past several years. They've had heavily armed conservatives protesting at the state capitol and on the legislature floor They've had death threats to their governor by these same conservatives. And lastly, these folks have experienced massive floodings due to heavy rains and the rupturing of their dams. I wonder if the conservative residents of Michigan will now ask for help after screaming that they wanted the government to leave them alone. Now, my personal opinion is that they were simply given with the breaking of the dams and all of this heavy rain and all the flooding that they're now experiencing. I think God just wanted to give them something else to think about. If you listen and wait long enough, I'm telling you, truth is always going to appear. And I have to speak on something that broke my heart. And it angered me, and it let me know we still have such a long way to go in this country. And that is the case of Ahmaud Arbery. Now, in February of this year, Ahmaud Arbery, 25-year-old black man, was shot and killed by Travis and Gregory McMichaels, a Caucasian father and son, who followed him in a pickup truck as he jogged down the street. Now, there was a third car following the pickup recording the event. Now, the recorder was a Mr. William Roddy Bryan. Now, to date, no charges have been filed against him. The initial claim was that they were making a citizen's arrest due to the number of break-ins that had occurred in the area. Now, evidence showed, and that by evidence, this is police calls. It showed no break-ins occurred within 6 weeks of the shooting incident. Now, yes, there was a supposed video of him being on a construction site, but it showed him standing there doing nothing. And I'm sorry, that's not enough to get yourself killed, but I don't care what happens. Now, because of the refusal to approve the arrest and the recusal of the district state's attorney, Jackie Johnson, not to mention the refusal to prosecute by District Attorney George Barnhill, who actually labeled this shooting a justifiable homicide, the McMichaels were never arrested. Now, on May 5th, the video was posted to a radio station website, then to a Twitter page by the Arbery family attorney. On May 7th, the McMichaels were arrested on charges of first-degree murder and aggravated assault. Alan David Tucker, the defense attorney and family friend of the McMichaels, stated that he only released the video at the behest of the McMichaels to clear up any false accusations, confusion, and misconceptions as to what actually happened. Thank you, Mr. Tucker. You cleared up everything just fine. Everything just fine. And like I said, if you listen and wait long enough, the truth will always appear. Now, that's all I could get out for the day. And the basic premise that I want you all to understand from a life detox point of view is don't allow your emotions and your fears to have you make a knee-jerk decision, an immediate knee-jerk decision. You have to sit back with all of the stuff that's coming in, and it is enough to scare you, it's enough to confuse you, and it's enough that you want to make a decision so it can go away. I get it, because I kind of have to stop myself sometimes. But what you have to do is look at this information and say, okay, Okay. But what else is there? Because there's always something else. There is always something else that has yet to be said, that has yet to be shown. You can't make decisions based on the first piece of information you get. Because think about it. If we had made all of our COVID-19 decisions based on the first information we heard and we never paid attention to anything else, there would be a lot more cases of COVID-19 and quite possibly a lot more deaths. Now, listen, that mask gets on my nerves. It does. And I have a fabric mask. So as I breathe out, everything that is, all of the little halitosis germs get caught up in this mask. And believe me, sometimes that mask is funky as it can be. So I keep a lot of cough drops and breath mints so that if I have to inhale this stuff back, at least it doesn't smell like stale breath. And I know that's what a lot of people are upset about. It's stale breath. It is awful. So here's what you do. Keep some breath mints in your pockets. Keep some breath mints in your car. And when you're in the car, you can take that mask off, especially if you're by yourself. Pop a mint in. You get to your destination, put the mask on. Guess what? You're going to get the smell of peppermint coming back at you. I'm going to try something actually a little different. I'm actually going to try, after I sanitize my mask, this time I'm going to try to put a little peppermint oil in the rinse water and see if that helps it out. But I'm still going to keep mints and cough drops. But all I want you guys to do is to understand that information is key and information is power. You can't give a good fight without knowing your enemy, without knowing your opposition. So gather your information. Don't just react to it. Gather it. Gather your information. Sift through it. Find what you need. Because I'm telling you, if you wait and you listen long enough, the truth is going to appear. And it may not be what you think. And this is my time. I am Carol White, your life detox strategist. And this has been this week's episode of When Life Needs a Detox. I love you to the moon and back. And I want you guys to do everything within your power to live your best life. I'm going to see you next Thursday. Bye-bye now.